What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great day today. You're watching On Air with Nick Jobber, the Nick Jobber podcast. It's a beautiful Monday, May 13th, and today we're actually talking about shrinkflation. What's the definition of it? Let's jump into the definition. What does shrinkflation mean? The practice of reducing a product's amount or volume per unit while continuing to offer it at the same price. Shrinkflation occurs when companies keep their prices the same but give you less of their products. It's the inflation you're not supposed to see. Let's roll a couple videos and see how people are feeling about shrinkflation here in 2024.
Here are more embarrassing examples of shrinkflation. The filling in Oreos doesn't even reach the edges anymore. Nerf sells you fewer darts with bigger packaging. Literally half of it is empty. Pringles are getting smaller over time. Trader Joe's stopped filling up their cookie packages all the way. The packaging makes it look like it's one big loaf, but it's actually divided into two smaller pieces. Midnight started adding plastic dividers between their chocolate. Girl Scout cookies are getting smaller every single year. And Cadbury chocolate bars put now bigger signs on their product even though you're getting the same size.
So you saw the ads yesterday. You know what you didn't see during the Super Bowl? You didn't see the president.
Yeah.
And the president's team said essentially, you know what? People don't want to see a politician on Super Bowl Sunday. Well, this is what they're saying. So instead, what the president and his team put out was they put out a 48-second video that was shot in the screening room in the East Wing of the White House. And essentially, and this is crazy, we've talked extensively about how Bidenomics is a terrible term. Well, now they're going to remind us about shrinkflation. And rather than blame his policies, which are responsible for higher prices, no, Joe Biden is not going to blame himself, obviously. He's going to blame the companies that make Tostitos and everything else.
It's not my fault.
In aisles all across America, the choices are bigger than ever, but the size, not so much. From cereal to chips to detergent, so-called shrinkflation may be squeezing down your favorite snack or takeout order and your wallet.
That's the small queso. That was $6.
Same price, smaller amount, and some frustrated consumers are venting about it on social media.
Look at this.
I'm always getting less, but I either pay more or the same amount that it was that it already cost, but I don't get as much.
This is barely even a half of a cup of noodles.
I'm fed up. No pun intended.
Even President Biden on Super Bowl Sunday calling shrinkflation a ripoff.
The American public is tired of being played for suckers.
New inflation numbers were higher than expected in January. Food prices rising 2.6% versus last year. Grocery prices specifically rising a little over 1%. But they're up 25% since 2020. A December report from Senator Bob Casey's office found shrinkflation most common in paper products and snacks. But the Consumer Brands Association, which represents food and beverage companies, says company costs are also high and consumers have a choice.
We're dealing with a much higher cost structure and trying to find a way to equitably and responsibly produce products that meet the consumer where they are.
So it's too simplistic to say that companies are getting record profits by passing all of the costs onto consumers.
Absolutely.
Consumer advocate Edgar Dworsky says shrinkflation grows during periods of price pressure.
Almost every product has been downsized in one way or another. I'm waiting for the day when you open that carton of eggs and you only see 11 inside. We're just kind of coming off high inflation, so maybe we'll see fewer products shrinking, but it's never going to go down to zero.
And for American consumers, that's a big bite to swallow.
Speaking of, I mean, for a lot of folks, inflation just comes down to the grocery store, still paying more there. Do you expect that to change anything?
You know, USDA forecasts that this year, grocery prices specifically will actually fall a little bit, so that's a little bit of relief. But as I said, grocery prices are up 25% over the past 4 years. So this is why people feel so rotten when they have fewer things in their bag of chips.
Companies are making money hand over fist.
They are, but they're also managing higher labor costs and higher input costs. So that's that push-pull.
All right, guys. So most of the time during these moments of shrinkflation where you're getting less product for paying the same amount, it has to do with our economy being inflated or inflation. Recently on CNN, Joe Biden said this, which is a complete and utter lie. So let's get it.
When you talk about the economy, of course, it is by far the most important issue for voters. It's also true right now, Mr. President, that voters by a wide margin trust Trump more on the economy. They say that in polls. And part of the reason for that may be the numbers. And you're aware of many of these, of course. The cost of buying a home in the United States is double what it was when you look at your monthly costs from before the pandemic. Real income, when you account for inflation, is actually down since you took office. Economic growth last week, far short of expectations. Consumer confidence, maybe no surprise, is near a 2-year low. With less than 6 months to go to Election Day, are you worried that you're running out of time to turn that around?
We've already turned it around. Look at the Michigan survey.
It's not my fault.
For 65% of American people think they're in good shape economically. They think the nation's not in good shape, but they're personally in good shape. The polling data has been wrong all along. How many, you guys do a poll with CNN, how many folks you have to call to get one response? The idea that we're in a situation where things are so bad, the folks that, we've created more jobs. We're in a situation where people have access to good paying jobs. And the last I saw, the combination of the inflation, the cost of inflation, all those things, that's really worrisome to people with good reason. That's why I'm working very hard to bring the cost of rentals down, to increase the number of homes that are available. But let me say it this way. When I started this administration, people were saying there's going to be a collapse in the economy. We have the strongest economy in the world. Let me say it again, in the world.
Although GDP last week was far short of expectations.
Oh, it wasn't. Look, GDP is still growing. Look at the response of the markets. Overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. And one of the reasons why people feel good about it not being as strong as it was before is they believe that the Fed's going to respond.
They hope they're going to get a rate cut.
Yeah. Well, no president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%. Bringing down inflation was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
All right, guys. He said when he came into office, the inflation rate was 8 to 9%, which is completely a lie. The inflation rate here in the United States was 1.23%. We are now looking at a 3% inflation rate. That's jumped up substantially since his time in office. So, and a lot of people are pointing these lies out. A lot of people are pointing out all these things that Joe Biden is saying that doesn't really make a lot of sense. These policies, Bidenomics, which is leading us down this road of shrinkflation and also economic inflation. There's several things along the lines that are causing this. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. What do you think? What are some items that you're seeing shrinkflation affect? To me, it looks like it almost affects everything. So you could definitely see it in fast food restaurants. You could definitely see it in groceries. We're paying more for less. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, comment. You guys be safe. Y'all guys be safe. Take care.